Hey everybody, Zachary Conan here, and this is going to be a fun kind of video. Get out on the porch. This is going to be a fun video. I was wondering what topic I can do, and then luckily one of you guys pulled through with a comment, and it was something about the movies. Something about the movies asked me maybe one of the most insane questions I've been thinking about for the past couple days. I haven't gotten very far thinking about it, but I've been thinking about it nonetheless. He asked me, what's the difference between Sofia Coppola's genius and Stanley Kubrick's genius? Well, that's an impossible question to think about. It's an impossible answer. You can, that's insane. I never thought about it, but I should be able to. I am almost an authority on Sofia Coppola. Blessed be our God of love. And any cinephile worth their salt can basically recite Kubrick's filmography and highlights in his life and his turning points. So what is the difference? And it's going to sound kind of bizarre. I mean, I personally, this is subjectively, I like Sofia Coppola's films more. If I were to step back and give you some sort of objective and cold thing, it'd be that Kubrick is the stronger filmmaker. And maybe that's the point. If I were to remove my subjectivity and my value judgments away from something, if I were to be cold, I would have to give you Kubrick. And that gets us to what I've decided is the difference between them. Their careers have almost had, like, opposite paths. And I think it's a false equivalency. I don't think you should compare these two directors at all, because I think that they're focused on completely different themes, and they have completely different ways of capturing images. But since this question pits them against each other, once again, thank you, Something About the Movies, Kubrick went from films like The Killing and Killer's Kiss and Doctor Strangelove, and post-2001, he became more and more controlled, more and more methodical, more and more stylized. Interestingly enough, if you look at Sofia Coppola, I would argue that The Virgin Suicides is her most overwhelmingly stylistic picture. It's her most hyperkinetic one. Of course, absolutely. And as you look at it, as I go through Lost in Translation and Marie Antoinette, those three, the women, the Girlhood in Captivity trilogy, those are pretty stylized films. But then we move into Somewhere, and we move into The Bling Ring, and finally to The Beguiled, and she has become so stream of consciousness, almost like a William Faulkner of film, like Sound and Fury. She has become so stream of consciousness. She has so much faith in the medium, and that is my answer. The difference between Sofia Coppola and Stanley Kubrick's genius is that Sofia Coppola has faith in film to be magical, to be transcendent. She believes that film is not a static being, but dynamic becoming. She believes in that inner dynamic power that is inherent in film. She has faith in the art form. I don't believe that Stanley Kubrick does, and that's why he manipulates it so much, because I believe that Stanley Kubrick viewed film as something to be manipulated. Sofia Coppola viewed film as something to be meditated, something to ruminate with. I believe she still views it that way, or at least she, more and more throughout her career, she is viewing it that way, because The Beguiled is hypnotic, it is deliberate, it is slow, it is also terrifying and horrifying, but the appearance of naturalistic lighting, even though it's in an artificial atmosphere, it's very smart. She's a very smart filmmaker because she has faith in film. And I would too if I were her. She most likely learned how to create these kind of moments, these have faith in film moments from people like Wong Kar-wai, from films like Chungking Express and In the Mood for Love. I know that she has, in interviews, cited those films as major influences on her work. And Wong Kar-wai is another one who has absolute faith in film and is able to just capture wonderful moments. And also, well, it's interesting because both Both filmmakers also have a lot of faith in music. But the thing is, I believe that Kubrick would use music to, once again, manipulate. I call Kubrick is one of the geniuses, one of the prodigies of film, one of the people who has completely transformed the art form and is one of the prime architects of cinephilia, of film. But I do, just like Hitchcock, just like the other prodigies, just like Orson Welles, he's a manipulator. He is an artist, but he's a manipulator. And he would use music to help manipulate his images, manipulate the themes, manipulate the emotions of those who are watching it even more. And I would never call, outside of the Virgin Suicides, which was manipulative, and that was her first film, but Lost in Translation, for instance, like the Kevin Shields' My Bloody Valentine original music, and Just Like Honey at the very end of that song, is not meant to manipulate you in any way. There is nothing duplicitous, normally, about a Sofia Coppola film when she's incorporating music. When she's incorporating music, it's very warm. She is using it to accentuate and to amplify the natural transcendental powers that film has, where Kubrick is almost dulling that transcendental power to kind of like isolate you more into a very specific emotion that Kubrick wants you to feel. Because that's the power of Kubrick. He knows that the human condition and the human audience will watch a film and feel 1,000 different things. And Kubrick is very good at manipulating images, using like spatial impossibilities even if he has to, sort of thing, and making you feel one thing. He's very good at deriving very specific and inciting very specific responses from his audience. Sofia is not very much interested in that. I think that she would call that a falsehood. I think she would call that inauthentic filmmaking, because the further on in her career, she is trying to get organic feeling from you. She is trying to pull emotions from you that are already there, or she will allow you to feel an emotion that she doesn't particularly want you to feel from the scene, but if you feel it like in a Tarkovsky way, in a very intuitive way, she will allow you to intuit emotions. See, that's it. It would be like, what's the difference between Tarkovsky and Kubrick? And it's like intuition. Tarkovsky had faith in film and faith in his audience. And I don't believe Kubrick possessed any of those things. I don't believe he had faith in his audience. I believe that's why he manipulated his images so heavily. I don't believe he had faith in film. That's why he controlled and coordinated everything so precisely. And, yeah, I certainly don't feel like he was an intuitive director, or else he wouldn't have to manipulate the images so absolutely. He would allow the images to organically derive emotion from you, rather than Kubrick actually coming in and pulling them from you. The brilliance of Kubrick is that you don't notice that he's doing that. You don't notice that he is constantly there as a presence, forcefully manipulating every sequence that you see. That's the brilliance of Kubrick, and yet his films are so heavily controlled post-2001. Whereas Coppola is wonderful. Coppola is wonderful. I'm a huge Coppola fan. This is a really bizarre question, because I would never think of pitting those two against each other, because they're also making films in completely different time periods. Hell, I think Virgin Suicides came out in 99, and Kubrick's final film came out in 99. It's almost like one put the pen down and the other picked it up, and it's impossible for me to compare the two. Oh my god. And I don't want this to sound like I'm criticizing Kubrick negatively. The things that I'm saying, the accomplishments, the ability of his to manipulate everything down to like the mere fiber of a sequence's being, you know, that is a talent that only absolute prodigies have. Is Sofia Coppola a prodigy? Maybe not. Maybe not, but to me she's a stronger filmmaker because she has faith in me and I have faith in her. I don't believe Kubrick has faith in me. As a viewer, I do not at all. I believe Sofia Coppola cares about me. I do not believe Kubrick cares about me at all. I believe Coppola cares about her film, and I believe that the only thing Kubrick cared about was his film. And that might be the difference, too. This is interesting. Yeah, if you have any other filmmakers you'd like me to pit against each other and, like, kind of root out what makes the other one unique, or what would be the difference. You know what? The more separate, the better. But, okay, don't give me John Waters and Steven Spielberg. Like, make them have, like, a single thread. Like, the single thread between Kubrick and Coppola is that they are both well-respected art house filmmakers who, have been praised for symmetrical framing, actually. They've both been praised for that. And they both do it incredibly well. And the thing is, also, when I'm comparing Coppola to Kubrick, I don't get any Kubrick from Coppola. I don't get that influence at all. I don't see Kubrick in Coppola. At all. Sofia Coppola, yeah, like, I see Wong Kar-wai, and I see shoegaze as an entire musical movement. I see a lot of different things, but I do not see Stanley Kubrick there. And that's actually phenomenal. A modern filmmaker who does not pay homage to Stanley Kubrick. Ooh, let's give it up for Sofia, everybody. Oh my God, Aphrodite, come here, take me away, cradle me, nurse me back to health. Sofia Coppola, oh my gosh. This also lets me add to my Sofia Coppola playlist. Thank you very much, Something About the Movies. My name is Zachary Conan. I think I've ranted enough. I think it's been nonsensical, but I think I've hit on a few good points. Tell me what you think, because I actually have said some slightly controversial things about Stanley Kubrick in this. Like, he's cold. He's disassociated from my emotionality because he wants to bring out a specific aspect of my emotionality rather than the organic functionality of it, the way it should watch a film, like people like Coppola, Wong Kar-wai, and Tarkovsky do. You have the intuitive filmmakers, which is that camp I just named. Then you have the cold filmmakers with Hitchcock, with Kubrick, with Fritz Lang. And there the two shall meet. They do not intersect very often. But thank you very much for this, through that comment. It has made a wonderful video. Oh my God, I'm a little sick today, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video. Do what you do. Like it. You know the drill. You know that YouTube shill bullshit. My name's Zachary Conan. Thank you so much for watching.